All right, thanks very much, Mark. Here with Bears General Manager Ryan Poles. Week 8 about to get underway with Washington. First of all, kudos to the entire organization in the execution in London. It all added up to a big win, of course, but everyone on the team I've talked to indicated that this was the exact way to go. I'm talking about players. Get in there early, get adjusted, have a camp-like environment, and, this isn't obvious, but do you think it paid off?
I do. I think it paid off in a couple ways. One, I really love the time that the team spent together and continue to bond and get to know each other. The other piece is just the preparation, really getting used to the time change. But at the same time, we had a good time in a new place, got to explore a little bit, but the focus was outstanding. And the guys got a lot accomplished throughout the week, and they were ready to go on Sunday. All
right, how did your own self-scouting of this team after 6 games go, and what did you learn? I'm sure you dove deep into it as well.
Yeah, I really feel like this team took quality steps forward in terms of building chemistry and playing clean football and being efficient in the operation. I think you can see that every game. Really proud of the approach and the problem solving throughout the beginning of the season, just trying to figure out what works for us. And you saw that come together on Sunday, and it was a fun time.
If you categorize things headed in the right direction, still things to problem solve, I would go opening drive, first quarter production. Is there any common denominator about that so far? 10 total points, only 3 points on opening drives.
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about our staff, and I've talked about being a learning organization, we had the time to look back and reflect on the things that we did well and the things that we struggled in, and put a plan together that attacks those struggles so that we continue to improve. The beautiful thing is there's a lot of meat on the bone here. We can get way better than we are right now, which is fun to think about.
Caleb Williams is fun to think about since week 4, the number 1 rated quarterback in QBR and the highest completion percentage. So great development.
Great development, and the beautiful thing about Caleb is he's still extremely hungry. There's no complacency or satisfied with where he's at today. He knows that there's a lot to continue to improve. He continues to stay focused, locked in, and take it one day at a time and 1 week at a time.
And I also just, from the experience we've already witnessed throughout this whole process, going home, he's going to have that under control too.
Yeah, very, I'd say just a mature competitor. Obviously, he knows he's going back to his hometown. He understands that this is on more of a primetime stage than the noon games. But his approach, his body language, all of that has not changed, and he's ready to go. And I think you'll see a very poised competitor on Sunday.
You talk about a quarterback raising all boats, right? Well, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen coming on, Swift in the run pass. He's second in the NFL in yards from scrimmage since week 4 with Derrick Henry, the leader in that. And then the offensive line, do you think it's steadied? I think this will be the first time that an offensive line under Flus will have played 5 straight games together.
Wow, I didn't even put that together. But, yeah, I mean, that's important. That group has to play well together. That chemistry's got to be right. The communication's got to be right. So we can see that coming together as well.
Okay, now let's talk about the defense. They're playing a ferocious brand of ball, obviously meeting and maybe even surpassing your expectations. And who, in your opinion, on top of all that, is your unsung hero of that unit?
Yeah, I would say the unsung hero is probably Billings.
I knew you were going to. I was going to throw Kyler in there maybe a little bit, but Billings.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love this guy?
Yeah, he plays so hard, strong, stout, and what I love is that his pass rush and just ability to affect the passing game is starting to come on. He's not just a big run player. So we're really proud of him and his development. Obviously, Dexter's continues to get better. But I just love how this whole defense is playing well together. They're communicating and playing as one and very disciplined football. And, we talk about the ball and takeaways. They're always looking for opportunities to take the ball away, and we're going to have a good opportunity to do that today.
Well, what a heck of a trio of Jalen Jones, Elijah Hicks, and Blackwell filling in last week. They'll need to do so again. That group has really been something. So you can talk about that. But also, are you worried about Jaquan Brisker?
No, not worried about Jaquan. I think, he's going to come back and be himself, and he's in a good place. And our process and the league's process, just in terms of dealing with concussions, I think has worked well in this case in terms of his recovery. In terms of our depth, very excited about our depth. I think it goes back to something Ian and I were talking about the other day. I think we I know we built this thing the right way. So a lot of players early in their career got a lot of snaps and experience. And then as we added, maybe some more talent, those guys might have moved into a special teams backup role. But then when their number's called, they're ready to go. So all of those guys we're really proud of how they've stepped up for us. And we're going to see some of them do that today as well.
All right, some timeline stuff and some roster movement here. So Travis Homer is back and ready to go. Zach Pickens appears ready to go. Terrell Smith ready to go. Jacob Martin is added to the mix. And you made some roster moves here.
Having Homer back is really big. I'm not sure how many people understand how good of a special teams player he is. He's going to have an impact there. And then getting Martin going as well. He's twitchy. He's fast. He's got great explosion. He's maybe just a little smaller than Darrell Taylor, so you're going to be able to do some really cool things with packages for a pass rush that we haven't seen yet this year. So excited to see those guys get on the field. Decided
to release Velus Jones. I know these are difficult when you draft these guys and you try to develop them, and then also the release of Kari Blassingham. These are two very hard decisions, deeper than just X's and O's and football.
Yeah, I'll start with both of them as human beings. They are unbelievable human beings that were important to our locker room and our culture, and that makes it extremely difficult to move on. But as you go through the season, roles shift. We got to account for that to make sure the guys that are active and on our 53 have the ability to help us throughout the season. With Velus, we took a shot on his traits and his upside. I thought he did some good things in flashes, but the one thing, we talk about here at the foundation of what we do is the ball, both offensively and defensively, and that's a place he's going to continue to develop, and we wish him luck if he's on a different roster or if he ends up, back on our practice squad. I do think there's upside as a running back, so maybe he has the opportunity to do that, but we'll see how it goes.
And this does say something about Doug Kramer also in this role that has now really given you a lot of options near the goal line and short yardage.
Yeah, it's kind of created this new identity in those situations, and a lot of cool things have been able to come from those formations. And we are proud of Doug. I mean, his execution of that is not easy. Being an offensive lineman and then all of a sudden being in motion and coming from the backfield is a difficult task. But he's done a really good job, and it's really brought a different type of attitude in those situations.
Trade deadline fast approaching. What is your appetite right now for a range, say, of a nice addition to a big splash like you did last year with Montez Sweat, or moving just some of your own for future draft pick compensation? I'm sure the phone's ringing. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, we're always going to be opportunistic to improve our roster. I do think it's getting more and more difficult to add right now with where we sit, which is a credit to all the work that our staff has done. But we will make all the calls to the 31 other teams just to see what's out there and see what other teams are interested. And again, if we believe it's something that can improve our roster and help us both short-term and long-term, we'll definitely look at that and see if it's best for us.
And that trade last year, let's talk about it, because he's now going back to his original team. Montez Sweat was first at once angry that he was being traded and then thrilled that it turned out to be the Bears, and he's really helped this whole thing come together, honestly. They're the number one defense in the league since his arrival. Fewest points allowed, and meanwhile Washington has given up the most points. It's just they had their thing to do, and the Bears had their thing to do, and it really worked out.
Yeah, it worked out for us. We're so excited to have Tez. You can watch the tape now and just see that even if the stat sheet isn't filled up for him, you see others being able to make plays, and that's the beautiful thing about playing as a unit. It allows other people to get home, and he's had success too, and we expect him to have a great game this week. But yeah, once he got on our roster, I really think this defense started to play at a high level, and it's continued.
Okay, let's talk about Washington. As of this conversation, we're not certain if Jaden Daniels will start or not. I'm sure you've been impressed with his play from what you've seen, but even bigger than him, stopping the run is going to be huge for the Bears today.
Yeah, stopping the run is going to be very important. Luce has emphasized that over and over every week, including this one. But yeah, Jaden's done a really good job. He's played efficient, and obviously when you can make plays with your legs, that makes you a tough weapon to slow down and to stop. So we'll be ready for him. If he decides to play, I think Flus has been very clear. Our plan is our plan. Our whole entire defense, whoever shows up and plays quarterback, they'll be ready to go.
Another hurdle to clear is winning on the road. And that has been tough over the last 3 years. This is the best team, obviously, in the last 3 years, but still getting that first one. What will that do for this team?
Yeah, I think it's just continued to build momentum. I think this team is at a point now where we either it's home or away, we expect to win games. It's a different mindset, so I'd like to see that executed at a high level today and get a win on the road.
All right, lastly, Scouts Eye, we're going to go on running back Brian Robinson. He's a downhill banger.
Yeah, he gets downhill. That's a player that you're going to have to use your technique and fundamentals, and Flus has been hard on those since he's arrived. So our hamstring tackle and killing the motor and shutting it down is going to be important, and everyone's got to swarm to the ball to get a running back like him down on the ground. So I know those guys are looking forward to the challenge.
All right, good luck today.
Thank you.